Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Furman Radio Network game preview. The Ingles Furman Radio Network, presented by Van Wagner. I am Dan Scott, the voice of the Paladins, and we're very happy to have you with us today. Furman 2-0 out of the gates and now ranked 25th in the country in the latest FCS coaches poll after the 26-0 shutout win at Tennessee Tech this past Saturday, the first shutout for Furman defense since 2004. That was a 10-0 win over Elon. The task gets a little more difficult this week as the Paladins will take on North Carolina State in their annual play-up game. And it's a series, obviously, that has a lot of connections here to a lot of people at Furman. First of all, it's a series that has been very kind to the Paladins over the years. As we take a look at the series history, it dates all the way back to 1902. In fact, these teams played back-to-back weeks in 1902. The first ever game was a 0-0 tie. The Paladins won the next week by a final score of 5-2, and you can see how it unfolds. This clip, by the way, courtesy of the North Carolina State notes package sent out by their sports information department. But Furman has an 8-5-4 all-time lead. 8 wins, 5 losses, 4 ties against North Carolina State. The last time these teams played was just 4 years ago in Clay Hendricks' first year. That was a 49-16 loss at Carter Finley Stadium. But prior to that, when Clay Hendricks was here as a player, the Paladins won back-to-back games in the 84 and 85 seasons, and you can see the 1985 score. Furman blew out the Wolfpack 42-20, and as Hunter Reed likes to remind people, took a knee inside the 5-yard line in the final seconds of the game, or the score could have been worse. So that is the overall series history. Of course, North Carolina State presents just a monumental challenge for Clay Hendricks' team, as you might imagine, going up against a Power 5 school in today's age of football. But it's not a case of just going up there, showing up to get a paycheck, and getting out. When Clay and his staff put their goals on the board in the team room every year, those goals include winning their FBS games. So don't think that they're just going up there to try to get a paycheck, not get anybody hurt, and come back and start conference play next week. They're going up there fully intent on doing everything they can to win the football game and have prepared as such all week long. As we look at kind of the tell of the tape, some of the matchups, you see State is 1-1 overall. They dropped a 24-10 decision last week to Mississippi State, and it's interesting because you've got that game, and then next week they open conference play in the ACC by hosting Clemson, and here's Furman sitting right in the middle. If there's a classic definition of a trap game, this would be it. The Paladins are 2-0, obviously, after the shutout win at Tennessee Tech last week. Dave Doran, in his 9th season at North Carolina State, 56-47, his overall record. And when you look at the team stats offensively, these teams are fairly similar. Competition level obviously has been different, but 430.5 yards total offense through 2 games for State, 429 for the Paladins. Rushing, State 163, Furman 146. Passing game, the Wolfpack 267.5 and Furman 283. Defense, and Furman's numbers spectacular coming off of that shutout win last week, just 230 yards a game, and combined have allowed their first 2 opponents to fewer than 100 yards rushing, allowing just 47 rushing yards per game, 183 through the air. State has been equally as good against the run in its 2 games, allowing just 63 yards, 230.5 yards through the air. So when you start looking at some of the matchups and individual things to look for in this game, a couple of things to note. Number one, defensively, North Carolina State is going to be without 2 of its top-line defensive players. Linebacker Peyton Wilson and safety Cyrus Fagan were both injured against Mississippi State last week. Both are done for the season, and both had gotten off to very, very good starts to the season. Wilson, 5 tackles and a quarterback sack out of his linebacker spot, and Fagan, 9 tackles and one of 3 interceptions that the state defense has reeled in this year. They are limiting opponents on third down to just 21% conversion success, 6 out of 29. And in the red zone, opponents for NC State have been there 4 times. They've only scored twice, and only one of those 4 have been touchdowns. When you flip it over offensively, they have been getting great production early on from wide receiver Emeka Emezi, who has 11 catches for 163 yards through the first 2 games. That's averaging 81.5 yards per game. And then Devin Carter, 6 catches for 130 yards. That's 21.7 yards per catch with a long of 51. Thayer Thomas has 8 catches for 42 yards. Another receiver, Ricky Pearson, 6 catches for 52. So they have 4 receivers with at least 6 catches through the first 2 games of the season. Quarterback Devin Leary has been okay, 47 out of 75, 535 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions so far. When it comes to running the football, Zonovan Knight has gained 194 yards, averaging 8.1 yards per carry with a touchdown, 97 yards a game for Knight. So when you start talking about where is your focus if you're Furman, what are we looking at as far on the radio side as plots and subplots to watch? Well, obviously, in a game like this, if you're the Paladins, you can't make mistakes. And secondly, when the Wolfpack does make mistakes, you have to take advantage of them. And if you can get out quickly and put them under the gun early at home, then you have a chance to maybe make them start to feel some pressure as the game builds. One thing the Paladins are going to have to do is be more successful in hitting the available big plays in the passing game, as well as the offense has looked at some points inside the first 2 games. The bottom line is they have left a boatload of points on the field, and it's because due in large part to the fact that they have missed big plays in the passing game. Hamp Sisson statistically is having a good year through his first 2 games, 42 out of 69, 558, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and those are very good numbers. But how many passes have we seen in the first 2 weeks that have been off target with wide open receivers? At least 2 and possibly 3 that could have been touchdowns, 2 of them last week. When you get to the red zone, this Furman offense has been there 8 times. They've been able to score 6 of those 8 times, but only twice in the red zone have they punched it in for touchdowns. So that is a concern with this Paladin offense as you get set to play this game Saturday night at Carter Finley Stadium. Can the offense be more productive? Can they take care of the football against a big, physical, athletic defense? And when you get the opportunity to make big plays, can you convert? You got away with not making so many big plays against Tennessee Tech because defensively you were just so much better than the Golden Eagles were last week, and offensively able to do enough to put 26 points on the board. And as we talked about during the broadcast, in most games this season moving forward, the way Dwayne Vaughn's defense is playing, if you score 26 points a game, I'll take my chances on winning those games. Against NC State, though, you're going to have to probably score more than 26, and you're not going to get away with missing wide-open opportunities in the offense. So those are just some of the things we're watching from a radio standpoint as far as plots and subplots in this one. It's going to be a fun atmosphere, kind of unusual for an FBS, especially a Power 5, to play an FCS opponent at night. Normally those games are noon starts, and they get them out of the way and start moving on to the next one. But North Carolina State scheduled this for 7:30 p.m., which means that the Pepsi countdown to kickoff on the Ingles Furman Radio Network will begin at 6 p.m. live from Carter Finley Stadium, and we look forward to having you on board. It is televised on the regional sports networks and on ESPN3. We invite you to watch that, but as always, you can turn down the sound and listen to the radio call, and that's what we hope you will do for this one. 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, and around the world at FurmanPaladins.com and ESPNUpstate.com. They, of course, our flagship station and broadcast partners. We are looking forward to what we think is going to be a fun Saturday evening in Raleigh. And then next week, the Paladins return here to Paladin Stadium to take on Mercer to open Southern Conference play. That is a week away. The task at hand right now is going into Raleigh and shocking the North Carolina State Wolfpack and trying to add to that all-time series lead against this FBS opponent. We look forward to having you with us. Join me, David Cobb, Marcus McMorris, and Tom Van Hoy for all the game action, again beginning with the Pepsi countdown to kickoff at 6 p.m. and the kick officially at 7:33, the people on television tell us, for Furman and North Carolina State, Saturday night in Raleigh at Carter Finley Stadium. Thank you so much for checking out this video. We hope you're enjoying this new feature that we've brought to you this year. Share it, help us grow it, and we look forward to talking to you again next week. Until Saturday night in Raleigh, I'm Dan Scott saying God bless you, and so long, everybody.